We are just south of Blythe at a campground. We're on a BLM property. John's trying to fix my flat tire. Our last week was so action-packed that I didn't have a moment to do any editing. So today I thought I would go back and actually bring you up to speed on the cause of our dead batteries when we were in the Grand Canyon this last fall. I'm hoping that some of this may be helpful to you guys in the future. The first thing that ever caused our dead batteries was leaving the inverter on. And if you're not getting enough solar, that can drain your batteries. And typically where we are parked at home, it's on a slight hill that faces north. So in the wintertime, it will drain our batteries. So you need to make sure you keep the inverter off, but also you turn off your batteries. The second thing that has caused us in the past to have a dead battery was our three-way refrigerator when we had propane issues and we ran it off the 12 volt. That thing really sucks down power. So that can cause a dead battery. And I bring that up here because if you have a three-way refrigerator and you're going on a ferry ride, you have to turn the gas off. And so you would kind of be forced to run it off of your 12 volt. So if it's a really long ferry ride, you're going to end up with a dead battery when you get to the other end. Now, the dead battery in the Grand Canyon, that was much more complicated. And we went through a whole slew of troubleshooting tips that I got from our friend Doug. And I will include his list of things to go through in the description box in case it helps any of you in the future. The first thing we had to do was kind of narrow things down. What we discovered early on was that the batteries were just not being charged by anything except being plugged in. So, of course, we were somewhat limited because we were not at home, and the Grand Canyon is pretty far away from any kind of city that would have the kind of parts you might need. But in our case, it would not have mattered because it was none of the usual things like fuses and solenoids and things like that. The first thing we did was check the fuses, and the fuses are underneath this cloth skirt around the driver's seat. Push down, and those are the fuses. So you want to carry extra fuses with you, but that was not our issue. And we checked the breakers, and there's some kind of a point under here. We checked that one. I don't know what it's called, but there is a switch in here. Let me see if I can find it. Go upside down. And you have to make sure it is switched. I've enlisted the help of my neighbor again, trying to figure out our electrical problem. The alternator is not charging the batteries, the solar is not charging the batteries, and the Go Power controller, the screen is black unless the engine is running. And I've tried all kinds of other things. We've checked all the small fuses. The last fuses to try are the 150 amp fuses. And in order to mess with those, we have to disconnect the batteries. So I'm hoping that's it, but I also bought a new Go Power solar controller in case that was the problem. So it's red, white, blue, black, all at the top. I did watch several videos on this.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah. Positive. There you go. Black. And if this doesn't work, then we don't know what. We're off to the races. Then we'll have
pleasure way.
If we just took this, no, it probably wouldn't. Okay. I should stop talking to myself.
You're talking to the camera.
Okay. Nothing like. All right.
This is like a bunch of know-it-alls looking over your shoulder who don't know nothing.
Oh, well, Bruce does.
Well, yeah, well, you're tough.
So that's the converter. And the fuses, the 150 amp fuses, are those three right in a line. And I ordered those when we were on our way home because the dealer thought that was the problem was the fuse, and I wanted to have three in case we screwed up.
Well, we're going to test each one.
Oh, you're going to test the fuse for, oh,
yes.
Okay, I gotcha.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with this fuse.
Okay. Bruce is going to show us how to test one of these fuses.
So on a glass fuse, you can tell you,
yeah, you can see that little U thing.
Yeah. So on this one, these are the two.
Okay, so it doesn't matter which one you put, and so
no.
you got, what do you want to see from your?
About one.
About one?
0.1 right there. So
that one's okay too,
this
right?
one's good too.
Oh boy.
So
Yep.
Okay.
That one's good. And
This
that
one's good.
Okay, then that one's fine too.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not the fuses.
Nope.
So the other fuses, there's a fuse right there. That's a 15 amp fuse. We checked that. And we checked the 15 amp fuses right there, the green ones. We also checked the fuses underneath the, where is that other, the fuses up front we checked. And we also checked the automatic transfer relay. Our neighbor came over and double checked that we were doing that right. So that was okay. This is the automatic transfer relay. And I just noticed this thing has fallen out. I just clicked it back in. At this point, we had pretty much exhausted our abilities. So we took it into the dealer and I gave him a list of everything that Doug had said might be and the things that we had already tried. So to help him narrow it down. Now there were two things that we didn't want to basically attack. The first one is there's some kind of a relay underneath the driver's seat. So you have to lift the seat out and I wasn't going to do that. So the dealer did, and that turned out to be okay. The last thing was the problem, and that was the disconnect key. So here is the charge line disconnect, and actually that was one of the things we did too. We turned it on and off thinking maybe there's a bad connection. That was one of the first things Doug said to do. So basically he was on the right track, knowing that we couldn't charge the batteries from those three sources. That was probably the likely culprit. And I wasn't gonna, it's pretty hard to get in there, unscrew all that stuff. But then of course you'd have to have the part to replace it. And I took a video of the part. It's fairly easy to get. You don't have to special order it from the, Pleasure Way or anything like that. But probably what happened, according to the dealer, is somehow that nut got loosened up, maybe from all the dirt roads we drive on. But the nut had loosened up and caused a short. And perhaps could have caused a fire. That's the scary part. And melted the plastic. So they fixed it and we were off and running. Gonna pick up the van today because they fixed it. Yay for Beach City's RV.
Couple of screws. So basically it's 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. That whole thing comes off.
Well, now, if you're going to work on that, do you have to disconnect the batteries, turn off,
Just turn off your batteries.
Just turn off the batteries up in the front.
Yeah, up in the front, turn
And
the charge line disconnect
Do you also
off.
have to cover up the solar panels?
No, it'll be fine. 'Cause
sure?
The charge line's going to be off.
Okay, so you turn it off.
Yeah, turn the charge line off.
Oh boy.
It goes up, yeah.
Okay,
Pull
take
it
that out
So
and
now
then unscrew those 4 screws with a
Exactly. And
stubby screwdriver.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then those wires are going to be super tight back there.
The wires.
All these positive and negative
Yes,
connections,
yeah.
they're really tight. So you're going to find it very difficult to basically flip that thing on its front. If that makes sense.
But is that what you have to do in
Yeah.
order to get to these?
Yeah.
In order to get to these bolts.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can reach your hand back there and make sure that everything's still tight and
Okay.
good to go, which,
Okay.
again, if you're going to be going off-road, you might want to consider doing that.
Okay, so maybe once a year or something.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Well, that's really good to know because loose connection will cause that to melt.
Yeah.
And you guys put an extra hard torque on that
Yeah,
thing?
we definitely did.
Okay.
Basically as tight as we can go.
Wow. I have another question. When we were... Okay, so this piece does not come off because we were checking the fuse underneath here.
No, I mean, it does. There's just 2 little L brackets back here. They're
Okay.
exactly like
I know
that.
this is Velcro because we took that off. And then
Yeah,
this
you
is
can
just
get
an
this
L
off.
bracket.
It's
I
just
see.
2 L brackets.
Okay. So I will find the email that Doug sent me with the whole list of things to go through. I'll put a copy of it in the description box. And maybe you might want to download it or copy it or bookmark this video to help you if you ever have these kinds of issues in the future. One last thing I should probably mention is that, yes, I'm now posting our videos on Sunday instead of on Friday. And I'm hoping that, our friends Lynn and Owen post on Sunday, as does George at Humble Road. And maybe there will be some synergy if we all post on the same day. We will see you next week with a video of us traveling and adventuring and having a great time. And so I hope you'll come back then.